Welcome to 6th grade math. That was your homework that was due. Okay, we're going to use models to multiply decimals. Activity, model 0.7 times 0.6 using decimal models, or 7/10 times 6/10. There's our model. It's 10 by 10. Remember that each square represents 0.01 or 1/100th. Shade 7 rows of the model yellow to represent the first factor, 7/10. And shade 6 columns of the model blue to represent the second factor of 6/10. There are 42 hundredths in the region that is shaded green. The product is 42 hundredths. Standard form, we're going to write it as 0.42. In expanded form, it will be 4 times 0.1 plus 2 times 0.01. How many decimal places in each factor above? 1. 0.7 has 1 decimal place. 0.6 has 1 decimal place. How many decimal places in the product? 2. Model 3/10 times 3/10 using decimal models. There's our model, 10 by 10. Each square represents 0.01 or 1/100th. Shade 3 rows of the model yellow to represent the first factor of 3/10. Shade 3 columns of the model blue to represent the second factor of 3/10. There are 9 hundredths in the region that is shaded green. The product is, in words, 9 hundredths. Standard, 0.09, or expanded form, 0 times 0.1 plus 9 times 0.01. How many decimal places in each factor above? So in the problem, 0.3 has 1, 0.3 has 1, and then how many decimal places in the product? 0.09 has 2 decimal places. Check your understanding. Model 4/10 times 9/10 using decimal models. So we drew the 10 by 10. Remember that blue square is 0.01 or 1/100th. And shade 4 rows of the model yellow to represent the first factor of 0.4 or 4/10. Then we're going to shade 9 columns of the model blue to represent the second factor of 0.9 or 9/10. There are 36 hundredths in the region that is shaded green. So the product is, in words, 36 hundredths. In standard form, 0.36. In expanded form, 3 times 0.1 plus 6 times 0.01. How many decimals in each factor above? 0.4 has 1, 0.9 has 1, and then how many decimal places in the product? 0.36 has 2. Model 0.9 times 0.5 using decimal models. 10 by 10 model. Then we have, that's 0.01 or 1/100th, that blue square. And we're going to shade 9 rows of the model yellow to represent the first factor, 0.9. And then shade 5 columns of the model blue to represent the second factor, 0.5 or 5/10. There are 45 hundredths in the region that is shaded green. So the product is, in words, 45 hundredths. Standard form, 0.45. Expanded form, 4 times 0.1 plus 5 times 0.01. How many decimal places in each of the factors above? There's 1 in each, 1 in 0.9, 1 in 0.5. And how many decimal places in the product? 0.45 has 2. Analyze the results. Use the pattern you discovered to find 0.6 plus times 0.2. So our standard algorithm, 0.2 times 0.6. is 0.12. 1 decimal place plus 1 decimal place equals 2 decimal places. Make a model to check your answer. So there's our model, 10 by 10 grid, 0.6 or 6/10, 0.2 or 2/10. Find two decimals with a product of 0.24. Think about the times table and what factors equals 24. An easy one is 6 times 4 equals 24, or 0.6 times 0.4 equals 0.24. And we can check our answer using a model. There's our 10 by 10 grid. There's 0.6 or 6/10, 0.4 or 4/10. And then another easy one is 8 times 3 equals 24. So then we change that to 0.8 times 0.3 to get 0.24. Here's our model. 8/10, 3/10, and we get 24 hundredths. Model 0.8 times 2.9 using decimal models. Draw 3 10 by 10 decimal models. Shade 8 rows to represent 8/10. And then shade 2 whole decimal models plus 9 columns of the next decimal model to represent 2.9. We have 2 holes and then 9/10 of another hole. Get rid of the blue and yellow shaded areas, leaving only the shaded areas in green. So there's the shaded areas in green. And rearrange the shaded squares to form as many full 10 by 10 as possible. So I rearranged those so that you would see there are 232 shaded squares. The product is 2 and 32 hundredths. Standard form 2.32. Expanded 2 times 1 plus 3 times 0.1 plus 2 times 0.01. Analyze the results. Make a conjecture. How does the number of decimal places in the product relate to the number of decimal places in the factors? So first factor, 0.9 times 0.6. There's 1 decimal place in 0.9, 1 decimal place in 0.6. So there's going to be 2 in 0.54. And the conjecture is the product contains the same number of decimals as the sum of the decimals in all the factors. So we know that works for the first one. So and if we go through, it's going to work for each of them. You add up the number of decimal places in each of the factors, and that's how many there will be in the answer of the product. Analyze each product. Explain why the first product is less than 0.6. Because the first factor, 9/10, is less than 1. If we multiplied 1 times 0.6, it would be, the product would be exactly 0.6. Anything over 1, it would be greater. Anything less than 1, it's less. Explain why the product is equal to 0.6. So I just explained that, right? We know that 1 times any number is that number. So 1 times 0.6 is 0.6. And that's called the identity property. Explain why the third number is greater than 0.6, and same thing. The first factor is greater than 1, so the product is more than what you started with. We started with 0.6, we multiplied it by more than 1, so it's going to be more than 0.6. There is no homework tonight. You are very welcome. I hope you have a great night, and I'll see you in class.